Scottie Scheffler and his attorney put out today saying this morning I was proceeding as directed by police officers. It was a very chaotic situation, understandably so, considering the tragic accident that had occurred earlier. And there was a big misunderstanding of what I thought I was being asked to do. I never intended to disregard any of the instructions. I'm hopeful to put this to the side and focus on golf today. Of course, all of us involved in the tournament express our deepest sympathies to the family of the man who passed away in the earlier accident this morning. It truly puts everything into perspective. Well, let's talk about some of the implications of this, including the legal ones, with our friend, legal analyst Matt Timpanek, who joins me. Matt, good to see you. Thanks for being with us. I should also mention golf fan and legal analyst as well. This is really, roiling the golf world at the moment. So Scheffler said the incident was a, quote, big misunderstanding. Does that mean it gets all dismissed, do you think? Is that what's going to happen here?
I think ultimately the felony charge will be dismissed, but remember, there was reports that an officer was in the hospital as a result of this. In the statement put out by Scheffler and I think Jeff Darlington today, the officer allegedly attached himself to the vehicle. But if you read the police report, it made it sound like Scottie Scheffler accelerated his vehicle. That's where the assault on a police officer came in, which is a Class C felony in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I definitely think that since there's an officer allegedly injured, I don't know if this will be dismissed as quickly as Scottie and the PGA Tour would like it to be.
That's the thing, Matt. The charges, the nature of the charges, he was booked in addition to the felony assault charge, third-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregarding traffic signals from an officer directing traffic. To me, the felony assault, and I think a lot of people may think that that's somewhat egregious here. What say you? But you said that's just under regular Kentucky statute.
It cuts both ways, definitely, when you look at it. For one thing, a lot will depend on the body cam footage, because if Scottie Scheffler was just driving and following directions and this officer didn't really understand who he was or what he was doing and kind of jumped into the way of Scottie Scheffler's vehicle, I think that charge would not be able to stand in a jury case, because he was acting the way he was told. Other golfers had received similar instructions, and he was in a marked PGA Tour vehicle. However, it's also possible that officer thought he heard Scottie Scheffler's rev the engine or accelerate, almost to drive basically through him. And that's what ultimately allegedly caused his injuries. So it definitely cuts both ways. But for now, yeah, that felony charge is there, and it's very serious.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be dropped, but yeah, it is punishable by jail time. That's what a felony is in Kentucky, more than a year. But I ultimately don't know. It'll depend on the body cam footage and the dash cam video.
And do you think that will come out in due time?
I definitely think so, because it's such a chaotic situation, and people want to be able to, especially the Commonwealth attorney, is going to want to be able to look at it and see what is actually the truth, because we're hearing two completely different sides and two completely diametrically different facts that have the difference between a conviction and a dismissal.
I want to ask, too, the conduct of the officer. Would that be considered egregious? Is that going to be characterized as overwhelming force here? Because these two sides are the Scheffler camp and now Louisville PD, who have essentially said that the officer in question was dragged some 10 yards and suffered some injuries, was hospitalized as well. So that is what Louisville police are saying. Do they need to get more on the record here about what went down?
I think they're ultimately going to have to be, because as you can see on social media and the news, everything is pretty much slanted in Scottie Scheffler's way. That is that, in fact, that this was a total misunderstanding, that the officer, the criminal mischief came out of his pants being worth about $80, those getting ripped. And you hear that and it's almost laughable. But then you hear that an officer's in the hospital, and then it's like, okay, all right, this seems a little more serious than the way it was appeared earlier, because normally when you're booked on a felony, you don't get out for your tee time a few hours later. In the state of Florida, where I am from, if you get, say, a DUI, which is a misdemeanor, you have to wait 8 hours before you can get yourself out of jail. Scottie did it and seemed like only 2-3 hours get out of jail. So it was definitely shocking and surprising, to say the least, that he was arrested at 6 o'clock, yet he still didn't miss his 10:08 tee time.
You know, I mean, that's what's so amazing about all of this, how quickly he got out of jail. Apparently, he was bailed out of jail by the owner of the Valhalla Golf Club there, the club, of course, hosting the PGA Championship. And what, about 2 hours later, he was on the course, and he shot a birdie for his first hole. I don't know if you're a golfer, but just thinking of the mental wherewithal you need to compete at that level, having just been in jail hours before, is really quite something. I mean, it just kind of shows you the incredible athletic acumen of these athletes here. That's a photo the PGA Tour put out of Scottie Scheffler on the course today as well here. But this was all precipitated, Matt, by another tragedy. A worker, a volunteer at the championship, walked in front of one of these large, I believe, charter buses and was hit, struck and killed early this morning. That's why all of that traffic getting into Valhalla was there. And this was what? This was 5 in the morning. It was dark. It was raining. And so, you know, Scheffler, as classy as he is, noting that in the statement he and his lawyer put out, wishing their condolences to the family of this individual, the family of this man who lost their life today. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg said that tournament vendor John Mills was the pedestrian killed today as well here. And I think we were talking in the newsroom how peculiar it is that a lot of these golfers drive themselves to these tournaments.
No, absolutely. And it definitely does put it all in perspective. Like Scottie was saying, is that at the end of the day, I only play a game, and my charges, they'll work themselves out, but this man lost his life today. So it's important to remember what his life was and what it meant to his family. I get all this media attention because I'm the world #1 and I got arrested, but I was in jail 2-3 hours, as opposed to this guy lost his life and his family will never be the same. So it's definitely puts everything in perspective, and it's a very tragic beginning to the second round of the PGA Championship for sure.
You know, Matt, just having watched the interaction that we've seen so far, was this warranted? I mean, was this called for? You know, what Scheffler was accused of doing, the response, though. And I want to really get into that because, you know, I think a lot of people watching this today are watching the same video as we all are, saying, really? That was it? So you're saying there's something we're not seeing, and there are two sides to this, like any story.
Definitely. But remember, what we actually saw was the Darlington video of Scottie being arrested and brought to the squad car. What I don't think I have seen, I don't think was been released, is what is the incident that led to the officer to eventually pull Scottie Scheffler out of the vehicle and arrest him? It's like, okay, was Scottie just trying to go around? It sounded like he was trying to go around the median to go into Valhalla, which he was allowed to do, even with the traffic that was going on, as it was only players only. He has a PGA Tour vehicle. And for me, I'm thinking you're working a detail at a golf tournament and you don't recognize the world #1 golfer, or none of the officers do. And like he was saying, and what has been pretty clear, this is very clear misunderstanding, and none of them actually saw that. But I definitely think that when the body cam and the dash cam video eventually is released, we'll see who's actually telling the truth, or if it's just both sides are, and in the moment, in this chaotic situation, both sides thought and reacted what they thought they were experiencing in the time that they said they were.
Yeah, we'll just have to kind of follow this story. Hopefully we'll hear from Louisville PD. We did, and we're going to play this. We're getting new sound. Scheffler did speak to the press after the state of play today, after his round. So we'll air that in just a moment here. What are you following in this story going into the weekend here?
Definitely his arraignment next week. So on Tuesday, Scottie will be arraigned with these charges. There was reports that the case was disposed of. I don't see that when there's a felony charge involving an officer who's in the hospital. So from there, I don't think he'll actually appear in court. It's likely a situation his attorney will waive. Okay. But this is something that's going to be hanging over his head for the next potentially couple months, unless they make a quick decision that there wasn't anything there, and it was clearly both sides agreed that it was a misunderstanding. But For now, this might be something Scottie Scheffler might have to deal with for the coming months until this case works its way through the judicial system like any other criminal defendant.
All right. Just an unfortunate set of circumstances in Louisville today. Matt Tympanik, as always, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. In the meantime here, we do want to show you, like we were previewing as well, comments Scheffler made after he finished his round. This is day 2 of the PGA tournament. Let's watch.
Good afternoon, Scottie. Thank you for joining us. Before we open it up for questions, is there anything you'd like to say to start?
Yeah. First of all, my sympathies go out to the family, Mr. Mills. I can't imagine what they're going through this morning. One day he's heading to the golf course to watch a tournament, and a few moments later he's trying to cross the street, and now he's no longer with us. So I can't imagine what they're going through. My heart, I feel for them. I'm sorry. My situation will get handled. It was just it was a chaotic situation and a big misunderstanding, and I can't comment on any of the specifics of it. So I feel like y'all are gonna be disappointed, but can't comment on any specifics. But my situation will be handled. It was just a big misunderstanding. So if y'all got any questions about the golf today, I'm happy to answer them. But outside of that, I can't really get into what transpired outside of, my heart goes out to the family.
Thanks, Scottie. We'll open up for questions now, starting with Marty on mic 2.
How do you encapsulate everything that happened to you today?
I don't really know. I feel like my head's still spinning. I can't really explain what happened this morning. I did spend some time stretching in a jail cell. That was a first for me. That was part of my warm-up. I was just sitting there waiting, and, I started going through my warm-up. I felt like there was a chance I may be able to still come out here and play, and so I started going through my routine. I tried to get my heart rate down as much as I could today, but like I said, I still feel like my head's spinning a little bit, but yeah, I was fortunate to be able to make it back out and play some golf today.
Here on 1.
Scottie, what was it like even making the decision to continue to compete today and shifting focus to the task at hand and coming out and shooting 5 under?
Yeah, well, like I said, it was just a huge misunderstanding this morning that'll get resolved, I think, fairly quickly. And yeah, I mean, I came here for a golf tournament. I was driving in this morning trying to get to my warm-up time and get ready for the round of golf. I didn't really have an understanding of what had transpired this morning. And my main focus after getting arrested was wondering if I could be able to come back out here and play, and fortunately I was able to do that, and yeah, it was nice to put together a solid round today for sure.
Dan on 17.
It seemed like the crowds were really behind you and your fellow players kind of rallied around you. Did you feel the support out there today from your community?
I really did. It was really nice. The fans were tremendous today. I felt like they were cheering extra loud for me today, and it was, I mean, I really do. I know sometimes you can't really see it on my face, but I really do enjoy playing in front of the fans. The support I've been getting the last few months out here has been tremendous, and I'm really grateful for it.
Dylan on 18.
How long did it take before the golf felt normal, or did it feel normal at any point once you got out there?
It probably took a few holes to feel normal. Obviously I didn't have my normal warm-up, and I'm a pretty, I usually stick to my routine. I'm a big routine guy, especially when it comes to my preparation, but it took a few holes to settle in, and it was kind of nice just to be out there inside the ropes competing. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do, and so I was fortunate to be able to come out here and do it again today.
Right here, Mark on 4.
Scottie, we've come to know you as a pretty unflappable person out here, not affected by a lot of stuff. Can you describe how rattled you were when you were, and you just referenced, being in a jail cell and whatnot? Just describe that mindset and how surreal that was for you.
Yeah, I was pretty rattled, to say the least. The officer that took me to the jail was very kind. He was great. We had a nice chat in the car that kind of helped calm me down. And I was sitting there waiting to kind of go in. I asked him, I was like, "Hey, excuse me, can you just come hang out with me for a few minutes so I can calm down?" And I was never angry. I was just in shock, and I think my body was I was shaking the whole time. I was shaking for like an hour. It was definitely a new feeling for me. And he came out and we had a nice chat. And then the officers inside the jail were tremendous. A couple of them made some jokes, I think, when they figured out, who I was and what happened, and, how I ended up there. They, this one older officer looked at me as I was doing like my fingerprints or whatever, and he looks at me, he goes, "So, do you want the full experience today?" And I kind of looked at him, I was like, I don't know how to answer that. And he's like, "Come on, man, you want a sandwich?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll take a sandwich. I hadn't eaten breakfast yet." And so, I mean, they were really kind. I'm grateful to have. I'm grateful that we have, you know, such strong police, and you know, there are protectors out there. And you know, like I said, we just got into a chaotic situation this morning. That's really all it was.
Mike 6, Jim.
Thanks, Scotty.
All right, so wanted to make sure you listened to Scottie Scheffler today talk about this harrowing experience this morning when he was arrested on these charges. They're going into Valhalla Golf Club to play day 2 of the PGA Championship there, and so I thought it was really interesting. You heard him say that he was stretching for the day in the jail cell as well here. Let's put this up as well here. Take a look at this, Peyton Yeager, with that quote from Scheffler. "I did spend some time stretching in a jail cell." That was a first for me. He was booked at 7:28 in the morning. That was 2.5 hours before his updated tee time. He made his tee time. The first hole, he birdied. So it's a story we're going to stay on top of throughout the weekend.